Hi, it's Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. In this video, I'll be creating a 12 by 12 layout, sharing a design that looks complex even though it's super easy to create. The vertical design is very easy and its complexity is due to adding texture. For material, I'll be using a page kit I put together at the beginning of the month with leftovers from the Mercy Tiara Kit's Winter Glow collection, along with some stash. Most of this is from Echo Park Paper Snowed In collection, along with wood grain paper from Simple Stories. So let's get started and see what's on my table. You're going to notice I matted 3 photos in advance with mats. These measure 5 by 3.5. These are winter walk photos. In addition to that, I have paper. Most of this was already selected in my page kit. I have that wood grain paper from the Simple Stories Woods collection. The one in my hand there, I'm showing you both sides, which I will be using. That's from Echo Park Paper Snowed In collection. I have Vellum from Stampin' Up, Cardstock, that green cardstock, which is from Carta Bella. That medium green paper is from the Snowed In collection as well. I don't end up using it. And in this tray, I have a bunch of embellishments, and I will talk about that later on in the process when I embellish my page. What I want to do right now is create my foundation page. And like I mentioned in the intro, this foundation page is all going to be based on vertical lines. So what I'm doing is cutting up a bunch of vertical strips of paper, all 12 inches long, but they will all be in different widths. And some of these I'm tearing and others I'm cutting straight. I will put measurements for all of this on the screen later on in the process when I place these elements on the page. But what I really want to do, and I'll talk about that later on as well, I just want to make sure that each one of these 12-inch strips is a different width when it's placed on the page. And keep in mind, I always put measurements for visible paper and I overlap. You're going to see me, I think I just did it. I switched up that white paper. I've been using the Stampin' Up! Willow white cardstock lately, and I absolutely love it. It's really nice and soft and white. I just love it. And I had a different piece of white there, so I just switched it up for my newest favorite white cardstock. So you can see I placed all of my 12-inch strips there, and the biggest one, of course, is what's going to accommodate my photos. Right now I'm trying to determine what color photo mat I want underneath there. I tried the wood grain, I tried the green, and this is going to be one of a few examples of how you can make a decision, and it's either or. Honestly, the green looked as good as the wood grain, so there was no right answer. I decided to go with the wood grain. Same here, I flipped over that pale blue paper with the icons on it to try out the green paper. Both of these work. But today, I feel like using that pale blue behind my photos because there's all kinds of chalets and mountains on it, and I feel like doing something different, and I never use paper like that, and that's the mood I'm in today. So those are 2 examples how you can make choices, and there really isn't a right answer, or that's what I believe anyway. You saw that I inked up that blue paper there. The ink I used was Morning Mist by VersaFine Clair. I just added a little ink to the edge, but I didn't add ink to any other of the edges because all of the other ones are going to end up being torn, so I'm going to be ruffling them. And what I did do as well, the big chunk of that green paper, which is going to be placed closest to the left-hand side of the page, at first, I had it a straight line, but I decided to tear it as well. I was using the Creative Memories tearing tool, by the way. I've had it for many years, and I use it all the time. You can see I've moved ahead to adhering, and what I really want to do here is just make sure that all of these strips are in different widths. That's all I care about. So I've adhered them all together now, and now I'm adhering them to my foundation page. Now what I will do is adhere my photo. So these photos even are on a vertical line. You can see I'm creating a border with my photo. So once again, I'm still reinforcing this vertical design. I'm starting by adhering the photo at the bottom, centering it. Then I will do the very same thing at the top. Then what I will do is just kind of eyeball and position the photo in the middle. After this, now I'm ready to show you all of my embellishments and embellish my page. So First, I want to show you my title. Now, I had these alphas from Pink Fresh Studio in my page kit. I decided not to go with them. I wanted bigger alphas. I really wanted to reinforce this vertical design by having a fairly large title that took up an entire column. I am showing you, I cut out those alphas with dies from Elizabeth Craft Designs. They are called stitched alphas, I believe. I even have a narrow strip. It's about a 1/4 inch, thinking I may put that on the page as well, but I'm not sure. I also did my journaling in a circle, and I'm showing you that I cut it out with those circle dies. It's from a die set from Stampin' Up called Spotlight on Nature. They're basically nesting circle dies with an embossed edging around them. I'm showing you some other embellishments. So I have some chipboard from Echo Park Paper Snowed In collection. I have a few wordy bit ephemera pieces from the same collection. I have some snowflakes. They were in my page kit. I had cut those out for a previous layout with these dies. Those are various snowflake dies that I have in my stash, I think from the scrapbook.com and Echo Park Paper. Now I'm showing you I cut out some pine trees. Now that was done with a die set called, I forget, I can't read it on the screen. I bought it at Christmas time this past Christmas. I love buying tree tools at Christmas time. I use them year round, and they were from Stampin' Up, and I will list them in the description box below. I also had some small bits and pieces, some sequins, along with some enamel dots. Now what I'm going to do is start embellishing my page. Now my plan is basically to work within the layers of that border there. Now I didn't press down too hard on my papers when I adhered, so I can slip little elements within those layers. I'm starting by adhering that circle, my journaling on top of another circle, a little mat in that wood grain paper, and I'm going to tuck it behind one of those layers there, making sure not to cover up my words. When I did my journaling, I knew I was going to do it, so I kind of justified it over to the left. That way I could tuck the right side in one of those borders. Now I'm coming in with some big pieces. So basically what I want to do here is create one simple cluster towards the middle there, but I'm going to have it kind of elongate and stretch out again, sort of with that vertical design in mind. You can see I put a giant snowflake behind the journaling at the top. I put another one at the bottom, but I felt it was just too big, so I went for a smaller one there. Now I'm coming in with the trees. You can see I have two there on the right, and I end up tucking one in on the left behind the journaling box. Those get switched up a bit throughout the process. I'm just trying to decide at this point. I have those two chipboard pieces, which I absolutely love. One of them is the mountains, the other the chalet. Both of those images are found in that pale blue paper that's behind my photos. So I tucked the mountains at the top behind the journaling box and the chalet at the bottom there. Still coming in with bits and pieces. Now, when I cut out that journaling, that white circle, by the way, I made a mistake and I kind of squared off the bottom of it. So when I'm placing my embellishments, I'm trying to cover up where I squared off. I came in with an ephemera piece, a little wordy bit. Those kind of are placed, taken off, are placed, taken off, and in the end, I don't end up going with it. Now I'm coming in with a few more snowflakes, kind of trying to extend that embellishment cluster, trying to elongate it a bit, turning it into more of a vertical embellishment cluster, even though it's mostly centered towards the middle. At this point, I start playing around with my title. I honestly don't know where to place it. So I could place it along that border where you see me bumped up towards the journaling. I could bump it up completely on the left-hand side of the page. I have that narrow strip. I could use that. I don't have to use it. I really don't know what to do here. So at this point, what I am going to do is I'm going to start embellishing, adhering my embellishing in the middle, because I do like that, but I don't know what to do with my title. So you can see I'm coming in with that adhesive. It's called Sticky Specks. I put my snowflake on it. Basically what I did there was I lifted that white wax paper. That yellow paper underneath has adhesive on top of it. You place a detailed die cut on top of it and it picks up the adhesive. That's what I used for the snowflake. You're going to see me use it again a bit later on for another snowflake. It's really messy, but it's very effective. You have to be careful with your fingers. So now I'm coming in with the trees along with the little journaling box there that I'm tucking behind the layers. When I adhered those mountains at the top in that chipboard, I added some liquid adhesive. So at this point, I want to talk a little bit about texture here. So I've got the ripping, the torn edges, which definitely adds texture here. And I also have vellum, which is a different kind of paper along with regular paper. Again, that adds texture. Now, if you look at my embellishments, I have die cuts and I have chipboard. That is another way to add texture. So by creating this simple design of vertical lines, I am making it more complex by just adding different textures. It makes it look complex, but it's super, super easy here. So you can see I'm continuing to adhere my pieces. I've got a snowflake on top of those trees over on the right. Then I put the chalet on top of it. Now I'm coming in with a few more snowflakes, extending it out. I still don't know what to do with my title though. And this is another decision I have to make. It's either or, and to be perfectly honest, there is no right or wrong answer. Both will work. We tend to, or I tend to, spend a lot of time trying to make these decisions when honestly, it just really doesn't matter sometimes. Both will work. While I was trying to decide where to place my title, I decided to fluff up my torn edges a bit because I knew I would eventually do that. And while doing that, I was thinking, where am I going to place my title? Still trying to make a decision, and off camera, I decided to adhere it bumped up just to the left of my journaling box. Also, you can see that I changed it from our beautiful day to a beautiful day because I just didn't have enough space between the first word, second word, and third word when I had the word our there. Now I tried to decide whether or not to put that strip of paper, and finally I did. I felt like it just kind of finished off the top of the title there. And now I'm coming in with a few finishing touches. I decide simply to put sequins in the middle of 3 of the snowflakes, and that is it. A super simple layout based on vertical lines made to look complex simply by adding texture. The texture comes in lots of forms, vellum and paper, chipboard and die cuts, and the most obvious, of course, is the tearing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking Quebec, I would be honored and thrilled if you did. And if you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. Have a great day, and I will see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.